When are they available?
Nick.
A good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. Proverbs 13:22. Listen, this right here is not about the wealth. This is about the person you have to become, right? Be the blueprint for your family because you are going to lift everybody else up. Your efforts, your actions, your mind, the things you're putting in there, the people that you're surrounding yourself with, that is the inheritance that you leave to your children's children. How incredible is that? We are talking today about the real estate market in 2022, right? I've got my crystal ball here because obviously you can look into a crystal ball and figure everything out, right? I can see the future in this beautiful crystal ball. Well, what do I see? Oh, I see it's exactly the same as last year. You want to know why? You know why it's the same as 2021, 2020, 2019, 2018, all the way back to however long you've been doing this? Because the fact still remains, no matter what I'm going to talk about today, and I'm going to go through what's going on in the economy, I'm going to go through what's going on in the real estate market, I'm going to break all that down for financial literacy. But the fact is, we determine the future. It is in our hands. It is the skills that we build. It is the conversations that we have. It is the confidence and the posture that we have with our business that determines whether we succeed or we fail. The fact is, whether the market's going up, whether it's going flat, whether it's going down, we still have to talk to people. So we determine the future. The work that we do, it is the law of cause and effect. We're constantly building. We're constantly finding opportunities. We're constantly going out there to serve the distressed property community. We do that, we win. We win. There is equity in our market. There is so much equity in the market, and I'll prove it to you here in just a second. There's so much equity in the market that we can go direct to the property owners and find incredible opportunities. But you don't need one of these. You don't have to time the market. You don't have to worry about, is this the right time to get into real estate? Is this the right time to build my wholesaling business? Is the market going to collapse? Is this a bubble? It's not. The fact is, it's not. We are in what is called a boom. This is not a bubble. This isn't artificial. This is a boom. And I'm going to show you this. I mean, the predictions for 2022 across the board are wacky. They're all over the place. So let's take a look at this. Come with me here. All right. This is, and Google it, guys. Google everything that I'm showing you. You can check it out. You can fact check all of this. But this is the estimates for appreciation in 2022. You've got Goldman Sachs at the top saying that the real estate market is going to grow by 12.6% appreciation. Not only that, do you know what last year was? Anybody? Last year, nationwide, 19.1% appreciation in the real estate market. In some areas like Phoenix, we're at 35%. Right? But across the nation, 19% appreciation. Goldman Sachs says it's going to be 12.6. Zillow says it's going to be 11. Everybody's kind of, crapping on Zillow right now because of, them rolling back their whole, we'll buy your house for this estimate. But they have a lot of data. They're at 11%. Fannie Mae, 7.9. Freddie, 7%. Redfin, 3%. The only guys that are doom and gloom are the National Mortgage Association because they are really scared that the interest rates are going to go up. And the interest rates did go up. The interest rates went from 3.1 to 3.64. So what does that mean? That means that it adds an extra $100 worth of payment on average to people's mortgages. Right? And then they go, well, if they don't have as much buying power, then it's going to affect the values of properties and the properties are going to go down. Well, yes, in a vacuum, but we don't live in a vacuum. We live in a society of free market economics, which means supply and demand. And the demand is at the demand is so high, and the inventory is at a 40-year low. Okay, this is absolutely incredible. So this is what it's. Listen, by the way, I'm giving you all these stats just so that in your mind there's no kind of concern that this is going to crash like 2008 or that we're set up the same way as a really big financial crash there. It's not. I get it. They pumped a bunch of money into the economy. I get it. Inflation. We'll talk about that. I get it. I get all those things. But really, really, really smart people see a positive appreciation for this year. Okay? That's something that's important to know. That's important to know for us because for the next year, sellers are going to say to you, I know it's a hot market. I know that there's not a lot of properties on the market. I want to get the most that I can and take advantage of this market, right? They still have to be realistic on the price. If these properties are destroyed, you're buying them at you're locking these properties up at the value that you think that property is worth, right? I mean, listen, no matter what, whether it be toothpicks, a Ferrari, a house, the buyer determines the value of that every time. A ready, willing, and able buyer. You can make something, and if nobody buys it, it has no value until somebody gives you value for it, and that's the buyer. All right? So here we are. There's the appreciation. Now let's look at this. This is what's really interesting, because we're hearing a lot about two things: inflation and interest rates. Well, what happens? What is inflation? Inflation means that there's a lot of money out there. They've printed a ton of money. You can see, listen, I eat lunch at Lifetime Fitness 3 times a week. All right? The salad that I got, it's like this protein salad thing, was $11.99. They switched it to $14.99. That's inflation, because there's more money, and we have hyperinflation because of the supply chain issues that we have right now, right? Because of COVID, because of whatever's going on in the ports. I mean, there's a ton of other things going on, but there's a supply chain issue. So there's a lack of supply, and there's a ton of money. So people are increasing the prices for everything, and there's a shortage of labor. So not only do you have to pay people more to work for you, which means more money goes back into the market, because when people get money, they spend it. It's right here. When you get money, this is what happens to it, okay? If you're an employee, you get taxed right off the bat. If you're an owner, if you're a owner of a LLC or a corporation, you can play around with this, and you pay your tax after your expenses. But money comes in, you get taxed, right? And then you have the opportunity to spend it. You have the opportunity to give it back. You're somebody else's ROI through debt and interest. And then you have the opportunity to invest. So why does the stock market get all shaky when they say that they're going to raise the interest rates? Well, because more of the money goes to paying debt now. And if there's more money going to debt, then there's less money going to investing. And if there's less money going to investing, then the stock market goes down. You see big time investors pulling their money out whenever they hear that interest rates are going to go up, because they want to time the market. They're pulling their money out. They're waiting for it to dip down as low as possible, because they know it's going to rebound. And then when it's down low, they buy it. They buy that dip. They buy it when it's low. And then it goes back up, and that's how wealth is created. Boom, boom. They're timing the market. Right? That's what's happening. That's why you're hearing all these things. Oh, the market's down. Oh, Warren Buffett's pulling out of this, and Elon Musk is pulling out of that, and crypto's going crazy and it's going down. Yes, because there's less money to invest, because there's more money going into paying interest. We are a country built on IOUs. We're a country built on this, for sure. Well, Brent, what happens if, well, who owns this debt? Where does this debt go? How does it ever get paid off? They are betting on your future. Anybody that's paying interest is somebody's ROI. So when that interest rate goes up, less money is there for investing, and less money is there for spending. And what we know, and Google it right now, that taxes, for the average person, tax and debt is what you're paying January through October. That's the average American pays their taxes and pays interest on their cars, on their student loans, on their credit cards, on their mortgage, all the way from January to October. So then you got November and December to invest and to spend and go on vacation and do some fun stuff. But most people just put that on debt, right? Most people just put it on a credit card. But not here. Not here. We know that we're going to do everything to get big checks, pay our taxes, keep it humble, keep it real, keep the money, invest that money into assets, right? A good man, children's children, right? Inheritance to the children's children. That's who we become. We have to be disciplined. We have to be disciplined right now. We do the same thing that we did last year and all the preceding years before that. We go out there, we have quality conversations with distressed property owners. We make a big income. Ugly houses, big checks. That's what we do. And we bring that income in and we buy assets. And that is the inheritance. That's the person that we become. We become an incredibly disciplined, an incredibly savvy, an incredibly focused professional. That's how you win the game. So it doesn't matter. You can't predict what's going to happen in the future. You can't control what's going to happen in a free market society. You can only control what you're going to do. You can only control the way that you're going to go about this business. Are you going to be proactive or are you going to be reactive? Are you going to have an open mindset or are you going to have a fixed mindset? That's what we're talking about. Are you going to surround yourself with people that just want to kind of live that average life and just do the 9 to 5 and check out and live their life afterwards? Or are you going to be one of those hardcore entrepreneurs that's always going to be thinking about protecting your family, protecting that inheritance, becoming somebody that is just a superstar, becoming somebody that is financially so incredibly solid that the rest of your family has a blueprint to follow if they want to, if that's their choice. But give them the choice, all right? There you go. One last thing that I want to touch about is here. I just thought this was interesting, and I just like showing you guys interesting things. National home values. In 2000, 22 years ago, the national home value was $165,000. Now it's $374,900. Google it. It's worth a Google. There you go. 2022. But that's 22 years. That's crazy. In the stock market, you can make way more than that. Listen, you're making it off of this. Typically, when you're buying a piece of real estate, you're putting 20% down. You're turning this into this in 22 years passively, let alone the tax benefits that you get for depreciation, let alone the cash flow that you get from these properties and the debt pay down. Not only are you getting the appreciation, what you owe on this is less and less and less every day. Imagine if you bought 5 of these properties, you would be a millionaire passively. 5 properties. You need $150,000 22 years ago. But those prices aren't the same now. Now you need much more. You need like $90,000 to put on each property. Yes. And in 22 years, it's going to just be more and more and more and more. You got to bet on American land. You got to bet on American property. It's going to go up. It's going to go up. Historically, it keeps going up. It's absolutely incredible. I think that what the Fed is doing with interest rates is smart. I think that it pulls money off the table, more money goes into it, and it keeps the economy chugging along because inflation will go bananas when they put $12 trillion into, I think it's 12, might be more, Google it, somebody correct me, but $12 trillion into the market with all the stimulus and all the help with businesses, and that's why interest rates are going up. But remember this, in the late 70s, interest rates were at 18%. Yeah, we're at 3.6 and we're like, oh, the sky's falling. Oh, this is it. I knew it. We've been having it's been a bull market for too long. Come on, just focus. Make the money, go out there, have quality conversations, make that income, invest in assets. You win. That's it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about timing the market. Don't worry about any of that. You worry about the efforts that you can put into your business. All right? Excellent. Off to a fast start here. Got my crystal ball. I am Brent Daniels, Mr. TTP. Welcome to Real Estate Investing Live. Sponsored by, this show today is sponsored by the subscribe button. That's right, that beautiful red button there. Just click it. We come out with new and incredible content every single day. If you are not subscribed, make sure that you subscribe. And I am here, as always, with Mr. CEO Pulse, Mr. Birthday Boy on Sunday, Rafael Cortez. Rafael, how are you?
I am doing outstanding. I was taking all kinds of notes back here, man.
Talk to me about the economy.
What
What are you seeing? What are you feeling?
Well, I think one of the biggest things to just keep in mind is that interest rates are the central bank's way of controlling the money supply, right? The higher they go, the less people spend, just like you beautifully explained. And it really, higher rates means that the average consumer is gonna buy less, right? Which supply goes up, but we're not at a point where we need to worry.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much. I mean, there's still a lot of inventory out there. Our box, the stuff that we look for, it's so specific that I mean, we're not at a space where we need to worry. Yeah, interest rates are going up. Historically, though, if you take a step back and look at it, they're still like stupid low.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, and we live in the world of cash.
Yeah.
We live in the world of cash buyers. We live in the world of private money. We live in the world where you're not going and getting an appraisal and going through underwriting and getting a conventional loan. So for the money supply for the people that are out there flipping properties, it is robust.
Oh yeah.
It is robust, and the rates for those are still strong. I mean, you're still looking at private money at with no credit, no job history, none of that. You're at 10%, 12% interest rate on these properties, on the money that you're using to buy those properties.
We just and this is private funding, right? It's not a hard money loan, but we just closed a flip last week actually, and 100% financed.
Yep.
The property was 100% financed. The rehab was 100% financed. We didn't like nothing out of pocket really. We just locked the deal. Went to private money, and then we got it at 10%. But there's people out there willing to do that kind of stuff. They just don't know where to place it. There's money, and the activity is picking back up. So that means that the rates are gonna stabilize eventually, but we're not there yet.
Yep.
Just take action right now. Just jump on it and take action.
Awesome. That's the economy. I mean, that's what we focus on. We focus on what we focus on improves. What we track improves. So what are you doing today? Have you asked yourself the question, who is going to sign an agreement today? Get those beautiful brain antennas working, and you will find what you're looking for, without a doubt. On this show, we do three main things. Number one is we celebrate. We celebrate your success. We recognize. We ring the bell. I think it's one of the most crucial parts about this show is your participation, showing everybody that you're out there working, and we get to celebrate you. So if you've closed a deal, if you have gotten paid this week, if whatever, this month, whatever, make sure you put it in the comments section. I want to celebrate you. I want to ring that bell. It's a new crispy bell. We broke the other one, and this one, we need to beat up some. So make sure that you post in there. Also, we answer the questions. This is a question and answer show. So whatever you're dealing with, whether it is, what lists to go after or how to go after them, how to generate leads, how to convert those leads into signed contract, and how to get the most out of every single deal. Make sure that you put in your questions, and we will answer them as the best that we can. And then obviously we squad up. We squad up in the comments section. Make sure that you are posting in the comments section, letting everybody know where you are located and where you do business. Because you need to surround yourself with people that are doing this business, and you need to surround yourself with people that are doing more than you in this business to pull you up. No matter what you think your threshold is, somebody is doing more. You need to constantly be improving. Constant and never-ending improvement. CANI, constant, never-ending improvement. Tony Robbins, circa 1988, something like that. I will always remember that, though. Constant and never-ending improvement. All right, so make sure that you're putting your comments in. Alejandra is on the ones and twos here, making sure that your comments get in here, whether it be Instagram, whether it be YouTube. We're going to answer those questions. So let's crack that open, Alejandra. Let's start cracking open and seeing what questions or celebrations or squatting up we got. Oh, John Johnson. Come on, brother. He's got his first contract signed. I love it. Now, John, get it sold. Get that thing sold, brother. Get that thing sold. If you need help, if you're running into issues, Jeremy at offerarizona.com. We've got that whole cartel investor lift, 3.5 million cash buyers. I'm not sure what city that you have this, but we probably have buyers for it. So if you need help with that, let us know. But I hope that you just go and sell it yourself. Let's celebrate. Let's start this thing off right. Let's go. Yeah. Ooh.
Oh, wow.
Was it loud? That was too loud. All right.
That's perfect. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
now?
that was perfect. Yeah,
Supposed to
let's
be
get
loud.
the energy. It's vibrations,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, there you guys go. Jeremy at offerarizona.com. We've got an incredible buyers list. We're going to be putting together a form so it's a little bit clearer, or somewhere where you can just go online and put in properties that you need some help selling. But that'll be in a couple weeks. And a quick announcement. Next week we are not here. I'm in Tulum at the Multipliers Mastermind with the top guys from around the country. And that's going to be absolutely phenomenal. And I'm going to bring all the juicy nuggets back to the show. But I will not be here. We will not be here next week, but we will the following week. So make sure that you join us then. All right. Awesome. Also, guys, help out the channel. Just press that like button on here if you're getting value out of it. Just hit that likes and comments and everything. I don't think that they count the comments in a live show, but they count the likes. So that would be really awesome if you guys could just hit that thumbs up. What?
Say they both help.
They both help. Okay, excellent.
Any engagement.
Any engagement helps. All right. Thank you, guys. Advice on wholesaling in Daniel Radcliffe. Yeah, advice on wholesaling in low-income areas. This is it, Daniel. Number one, the average that you're going to make is about 10% of the fixed up value. Okay, so if you're going after these properties that are 50, 60, 70, 100,000, you're going to get less, you're going to get smaller checks. You're going to get smaller. Your income's going to be lower because obviously the price is lower, and you got to get these things very, very, very low. So one advice that I would give you, Daniel, is make sure you understand how much it costs to fix up those properties. Because there's property, I mean, I comped a property yesterday in Detroit. The gal wanted $500. She wanted $500, but she had a $16,000 tax lien, Ref. 16,000, so 16.5. Comps in the area, highest comp in the neighborhood, 70,000. Okay? So, and it's 1,500 square feet, totally destroyed. You're 40, 50 grand in renovation right away. You're 16.5 on that thing. So you are above what it will go for. The only advice that I would tell you, Daniel, is if you're going to be going after these properties, I would highly, highly, highly suggest that you Google turnkey rental companies, because there are companies that will buy that property. They don't care the price. It's all a cash flow situation. It's not about comps. They're going to buy those properties. They're going to fix them up. They're going to rent them, and then they're going to sell it for a profit to some doctor in Des Plaines, Illinois. Okay? That's what they're going to do. They're going to sell it to some dentist in Spokane, Washington. And they're going to build their portfolio based on these turnkey rentals that have really great cash flow because they look great. The rental rates in the areas are okay. So I'd highly suggest that you reach out to all of those turnkey rental companies nationwide and see what their buy box is and push them that way, because that's sometimes the only way that you can move those properties because the numbers just don't work out. And I highly suggest that you go after bigger deals. Bigger deals, right? Bigger deals mean, and that's going after properties that are worth more because it's about a 10%. You're going to make about 10%. So I'd rather you be getting 30K than 3K. But if 3K is that first spark, is that proof of concept, that faith to fact thing, right? Then listen, go for it. Rock and roll. Get anything. Get $15 in. If you could pull $15 out of the air from just your efforts talking to people on the phone about real estate, you could do $150,000. It's all the same process. So just get that proof of concept so that you keep going and keep pushing. All right? Ref, you had something?
Yeah, when it comes to low-income areas, I mean, there's a couple of things that you need to watch out for that can break the deal, I think. Deferred maintenance is going to be one of them. A lot of times you have people who care less about the property, so they're a lot more damaged than in the average areas. And then again, you have to be like real niched into the buyers because they're harder to sell, a lot harder to sell in those C-level areas.
Yep.
So yeah, just a couple of things to keep in mind because that will the numbers may look good on the coming into it on the front end, but there's things that can come in and break your deal like that.
Yep.
So.
Can Instagram see, Raf?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Huh?
Or
No, they
IG?
just see me
Yeah.
drinking Diet Coke.
They
can hear 'em.
can hear 'em.
Awesome. Good question, Daniel. Go after some big ones. TikTok, what is the best leads to go for? If you're just getting started, KJ Stick, go after driving for dollars. We have a simple philosophy here, and listen, if a child can understand this philosophy, everybody else should. Can we roll that, Matt? Roll this. I love this. This is from Scott. Listen to this. Let's see if we can get this timed right.
Go ahead.
Ugly house is a big check.
Ugly houses, big checks. One more time.
Go ahead.
Can everybody hear that?
Ugly house is a big check.
All right, good. Look at that. Oh my God, that's adorable. Yeah. Listen, if you go after your driving for dollars. All right, find those driving for dollars properties. Find those distressed properties that are on the street, and get in touch with the homeowner. If you literally have no budget, you can go to benverified.com. You can go to White Pages. You can go to True People Search. But the data is really rough. If you really want to go pro and get the right data, batchskiptracing.com. Batchskiptracing.com. You're going to get an ugly house. You're going to get their phone number. And if you need a script, if you don't know what to say to them, go to ttpinsider.com. ttpinsider.com. And in the toolbox there's incredible resources for you. But there is a copy of the TTP script that you can download. All right, so check out that TTP Insider. So, ugly house, get the phone number, call them up, ask them if they would consider an offer, and then sell that deal. All right, or close on it, add it to your portfolio, or flip it. There you go. Right now, if you're just getting started, best leads to go for driving for dollars. And by the way, driving for dollars. And if you really want to just take it up a notch, and you have $50 a month, get Deal Machine. DealMachine.com just did a great podcast with Matt Camp of Deal Machine. Phenomenal updates they have for it. They spend so much money just to help us drive for dollars. It's bananas. It's absolutely bananas. Nobody spends more money than Deal Machine, and nobody gets a bigger discount than this channel. And if you use TTP as a coupon code, there you go. AMAC. I'm about to get a commercial deal under contract in Georgia for $30K. Any tips? Yes. AMAC, what you need to do is, once you get it under contract, I want you to call up all of the commercial brokers. Okay? First, send it out to your database. You never know who's looking for something. That's fantastic. That'll be real smooth. The second thing is, if it doesn't sell quickly to your database, then I want you to reach out to all of the commercial guys. You can go to loopnet.com, loopnet.com, and I would find anybody, AMAC, that has a listing in that zip code or in that city, depending on how big the city is. And reach out to them and say, hey, listen, I've got this. What buyers do you have for it? The commercial guy, this is a beautiful thing about commercial real estate that I give so much respect for. All day, every day, for the first 10 years of their career, they're cold calling. For real. This is every industry. This is hotels, this is commercial real estate, this is insurance, this is mortgages, this is realtors, this is everybody. Everybody makes calls. Everybody goes proactive. Every business has some sort of proactive, outbound, go get some leads type of philosophy. I'm telling you, big business is built on being proactive. Marketing obviously helps, but they're still proactive. The biggest gangster of all time is Zillow. Zillow literally has 2 warehouses of people sitting in cubicles making cold calls all day to realtors to buy Zillow leads from them. It's gangster. It's crazy. They put in hundreds of thousands of hours of prospecting. So anyway, AMAC, I'm going a little bit sidetracked there. LoopNet, find the commercial brokers in that area. Oftentimes they have buyers for you. And they love wheeling and dealing. They love getting into the action. So that's what I do if you can't sell it to your database. Raf, you've been deep diving some commercial stuff for about a year now.
Yeah.
So any thoughts there?
Yeah, when you're working out the deal on the front end, just there's a couple of different ways of comping and figuring out that the values are there. We've had deals fall through because the valuation was different based on use as opposed to just straight comps.
Right.
So keep that in mind when you're looking at the deal and getting it under contract. But yeah, I mean, it comes down to the network, man. We've networked with people who are doing a lot of commercial stuff,
Yep.
and that's our backbone. Like, that's our support, right? It's not that we're getting, to become experts in the commercial field. We just know people who are.
Yep.
And that's helping out a lot.
I love it.
Yeah.
We don't have to become experts. We just find people that are.
People who not how,
That's
right?
life. Who not how? Yeah. Who not how? There you go. Great question. Go get him. Scotty Free says, got 11 properties signed Monday. 11 I assume this is one seller. Here's what I'll tell you, Scotty.
Boom.
Number one is when you have multiple properties like that, make sure that all the properties are a deal. Don't front load and sell, 5 of these things cheap, and then you're still on the line for the other 6. That's what I've seen. 3 people. I know 3 people that have gone bankrupt doing that. Bigger packages, more like 30, 40 properties, not 11. But make sure all of them are smoking deals, and get them out there, buddy. Get them out there, Scotty. Come on, bro. Here we go. I'm going to celebrate a little bit. I'm going to
Oh,
this
yeah.
a little gentle. Good?
Amazing.
Are you picking that up on this mic?
Oh, 100%.
Okay, good. That's why I go back there.
Yeah.
I don't want to destroy too many headphone eardrums. Yeah.
Eardrums.
There you go. Congratulations, Scotty. Get them sold. Get them sold, buddy. If you need help, obviously, Jeremy at offerarizona.com. There you go. Brendan D. Hey, Brent. Will the section on comping be updated on the wholesaling course since Propstream no longer had the data? Yes and no. The principles are the same. It just depends. You can comp from... we're going to do a whole comping show in 2 weeks, Brendan. Great question. I'm not sure which wholesaling course you're talking about, whether it's the TTP course for the students or if it's the free one that we have in the in TTP Insider. So let me know on that. But yeah, but I don't. The principles are the same, so I'm not exactly sure what needs to be changed there. I mean, you're finding comps that are sold in that area. If you're finding comps, I mean, if you can't find comps because Propstream pulled the sold comps, call a real estate agent in the area. Get Zillow, get Redfin, get Trulia, get all 3 of them, get Realtor.com, add all 3 up, divide by 3, get an average, and then go 66%, 50%, or 25%. But yeah, I listen, Brendan, we'll have a conversation. I'll see what you need out of that, and I'll update it, of course. Anything you need. But don't overthink it, and don't let that stop you. Awesome. Sent out 4,900 texts so far this year. Sent out a contract this past weekend. No sign, though, LOL. Keep going, Aaron. That's awesome. I mean, listen, keep it going. I love it. Keep being proactive. Keep getting, send out those texts. Make those calls. Make sure if you're sending out texts, you're getting them on the phone. When you send out a contract, a couple things there stick in my mind. Number one, present it in person as often as you can in this market. Telling everybody, go in person to get the contract signed and make sure that you're using advanced agreements. When I come out tomorrow and we agree on the price and the terms, is there anything stopping us from moving forward with the purchase agreement? No, we should be good. Great. Then you already know you go out there and you get that contract signed. But if you go out there blindly and then all of a sudden they start throwing out, well, we need time to pray about it. We need time to review this with our attorney. We need time to review it with our realtor. Oh, my husband's not here. I just want to get the information. Then I'll talk to him about it. My wife's not here. She makes all of the decisions in the house. You know, all of these things you need to know before you go out on those appointments. Because what's happening is you send an offer, it's unknown. Are they ready to sign it? What are they looking for? Do they understand the language in the purchase agreement? Have you ever just had a long email and you're looking at this email and you're like, I'm not going to read this whole email. This is crazy. Can you imagine what a purchase agreement looks like to people that aren't in real estate? It's very confusing. It's very tedious. You need to get in front of them as often as possible. And if you're going to if you're doing it virtual, I get it, or if it's in your market but they live out of state or something, get on a Zoom call and share your screen of the contract, go through it so that they're confident, have them sign when you're on a Zoom call. As a professional courtesy to you, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, we set up an appointment to jump on a Zoom call so that we can go over the purchase agreement, answer any questions you have, so that we can open up escrow right away and start working for you. That's the conversation. Get in front of them, because nothing is worse, Aaron, than wondering, are they going to sign? Are they going to open it up? Are they leveraging this offer to get a higher offer for somebody else? Do they really want to sell? What happened? Right? People have lives. Be professional. Set up an appointment, either in person or on Zoom, and that'll really help.
My question for Aaron is, I wonder if he's following up via SMS too. You want to get him out of the SMS campaign. As soon as you make contact with somebody, get him out of SMS or text messaging and into a phone call, into an actual conversation.
Yeah.
So if you send out a contract this weekend, don't follow up via SMS and then shoot another text to see if they signed it. Just get him on the phone.
Yep.
Yeah, have a conversation with them.
Love it. Perfect. Yep. Jason Harris, how many sellers should my cold callers be talking to in a 6-hour shift? They are averaging 35 to 40 sellers per day. How can I increase that? One cold caller, 6, getting 35 to 40. You should be getting about a 7% contact rate. Just make sure to increase that, Jason. You just want to make sure that you've got really, really clean caller IDs. Make sure that you give them fresh lists. If they're going through a list the first time, that should increase. The second time, it should be still pretty good. But if they're going through it the third or fourth time, it's going to be way down. So 1, make sure that they've got fresh lists. 2, make sure that the caller ID is not coming up as spam likely, and that should help out. And 7%, shoot for 7%, Jason. Awesome. Good question.
We usually have on average about 10 conversations an hour.
Right.
That's what we kind
with
of clock
fresh
it at.
lists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, high performance.
So,
lists.
I mean, you're probably in a 6-hour shift, 50 to 60 conversations.
Yeah, it's not that off.
There you go. Chris, can you speak to the amount of times it takes to follow up on a warm, hot lead that are ready to sell in the next month? I've been running into problems of going on appointments and leaving a contract.
And never getting the deal.
That's what he said, and never getting the deal. Well, first of all, you never leave a contract. I mean, you can. I get it. I mean, in real life, you're like, okay, you want to review it, this, and this. 1, I would really look real strong, Chris, at advanced agreements. I mean, there are a ton of what to do before the appointment videos. There's on this channel, for sure, on getting those contracts signed. But the gist of it is pull out their objections before you go on that appointment. And don't go on the appointment unless they're ready to sign a purchase agreement. And if you're just like, well, I want to get in front of them, they're kind of older, I want to talk to them, they're kind of old school, they want to meet face-to-face, great. Don't leave a contract when you go. Don't leave it. I mean, just make it like a company policy. Like, I don't leave contracts. Either we work together or we don't. You know what I mean? Set some standards. I mean, if you do that, what are they going to do? Well, I need you to leave that. I need to review it. I need to do this type of thing. Well, what questions do you have about the purchase agreement? And then if you feel it's reasonable to leave it. But you're shooting yourself in the foot. It's leverage in this market.
Yeah,
right?
They're definitely going to use it to just get a higher number for that property. One thing that you can do, Chris, if you're leaving or you can't find yourself saying no to leaving the contract behind, don't fill it out. Just give them the boilerplate. What the excuse that they have to ask for a contract is that they want to review the clauses, right? They want to review the clauses. Maybe they want their attorney, which might be their 14-year-old cousin, to review the contract, make sure that it's legit. But you can leave the boilerplate contract. Just don't fill it out. Don't put the price on it. Don't sign it. Don't whatever. Whenever they're ready, pull the trigger on a real, signed contract and whatnot. That's what I would recommend. Otherwise, they're gonna keep using that contract to leverage your price up.
You have cousin, a 14-year-old cousin that's an attorney?
Absolutely.
That's wild. Man, they're geniuses in your family.
Only speak Spanish, though.
Yeah, that's it. For the beginning of that question there, can you speak to the amount of times it takes to follow up on hot leads as often as possible? I mean, typically when they're getting to that point, you're talking to them every single day, Chris. And then that's when you're pulling out any of the objections, any of the roadblocks, anything stopping them. I would literally ask. And you know, some people go with the, well, I have to buy something this week. I want it to be your property versus somebody else's property. But I feel like that puts it all on, well, do me a favor. And I don't like that position. I don't want the sellers to feel like they're doing me a favor. You know what I mean? So I don't think that never worked for me. I've tried it. Because I thought it was a clever way to kind of like get them to shorten their timeline as well. I don't know if we'll have funds to buy your property if we buy these other ones. One, it's a lie, and two, I just don't think it lands well. I mean, some people are successful with it, I guess, but I just don't. I don't play that game. I'm just getting to the point of what is stopping us from doing business. That's your question. What is preventing us from doing business? Is it the price? You want more? Okay, totally understand. I want you to get the most. Go put it on the market. Is it you need longer to get out? You need longer for the tenants to get out? It's a timing issue. It's a convenience issue that you're not going to be in town and you think you need to be in town to be able to clear out the property. What if I cleared out the property for you? What if I went in and I brought a whole moving company in, we boxed everything up in the house and we shipped it wherever you wanted on our expense? Would that work for you? Might cost you a few grand. Who knows what that would cost? But you get a $30K deal? Like, remove the obstacles, but you can't remove obstacles that you don't know about. So make sure that you're getting those advanced agreements. Make sure that you're pre-qualifying. Condition, timeline, motivation, price. And then in those four things, you're going to get the little details that are going to make all the difference. The little things that are sticking on them that's preventing them from making a decision. And then you just solve those problems. It's an incredible business. We have an incredible business of problem solving. I love it. We do crazy stuff all the time. And our philosophy in our business is, no problem. No problem. Yep, we got it. No problem. You want to leave all your stuff here? No problem. You want us to find a good house for this dog? No problem. You want us to board up the property so that it stops getting broken into while we're in escrow? No problem. You need us to ship some stuff to you? No problem. We're just not going to let anything stop us, and we average $42,000 a deal plus, because we have the philosophy of no problem. There's nothing going to stop us if they want to truly solve the problem that is the stress of this property. We're going to do it for them.
In terms of follow-up, back to Chris real quick. A lot of times the question is, or the fear is, am I going to follow up too often, or are they going to get pissed off at me? If somebody's willing to sell or ready to sell within 30 days, Chris, follow up on a daily basis. Just ask for permission right before you hang the phone. Like, okay, cool. I understand you're not ready today. I'm going to give you a call back probably tomorrow if that's okay, and then just follow up with it.
Yep.
But get their permission to follow up, and it's never going to be like, you'll know when it goes beyond that. You know what I mean? But yeah,
they just won't answer.
Yeah, exactly. And then just whenever you do have a conversation with them, get permission to have the next one tomorrow, because they're gonna sell within 30 days, and you're gonna be pissed off if they sell to somebody else and you had it on the hook, there for a little bit.
Love it. There you go. Amanda Underwood, what about the opposite? Going for wholesale deals in overstated markets.
I think she meant oversaturated.
Oversaturated markets. Okay. Well, first of all, oversaturated is a myth. It's a myth. Okay. And the reason I say that is I have students doing deals in Seattle, San Diego, Miami, Dallas, Houston, Austin, Denver, Phoenix, obviously. I mean, they're just bigger deals. There's just, you do less deals, but they're bigger deals. The fact is 6 to 10% of your real estate market in every market is in distress, whether that be physical distress, whether that be emotional distress, whether that be financial distress. There's some distress there. You just focus. You got to pull that whole oversaturated thing out. And I get it, Amanda. What happens is you get so much rejection that it's like, oh my gosh, is anybody going to do business with me? But just put it in your head, 199 people out of 200 are going to reject you. They're not going to do business with you. But 1 out of 200 will. That's just it. So find that one person out of 200. If you're pre-qualifying them, if you're doing your lead follow-up, if you're presenting the offer and getting your advanced agreements, 1 out of 200 will close. So, I mean, it just depends on how many deals you want to do and what your capacity is. But I totally get it. It's a fist fight. It's a fist fight in some of these markets. Everybody wants 10% higher than retail. Everybody wants this. Everybody wants this. Yes, it feels like everybody wants it because 199 out of 200. We are not built for that much rejection. Our amygdala hijacks us. We talked about it last week. Our amygdala hijacks us, and all of a sudden all that stress and fear and anxiety, and that's when that little beautiful almond-shaped thing that controls our emotions tells us, just quit. It's not going to work here. Move somewhere else. I mean, it's up to you, Amanda, but there is no oversaturation. There's just more grinding to get the deals, but the deals are bigger. That's it. 199 out of 200 will tell you no. Find that one that'll tell you yes. And that's the toughest part because we start, a lot of people start in this business, they have a 9 to 5. They're in the military. They're driving trucks. They're nurses. They're doctors. They're attorneys. They're investors that can no longer find deals anymore. There's a ton of different backgrounds of people that are finding that wholesaling, that sourcing the deals themselves is the path to financial freedom, right? And so we're not used to that much rejection. Just push through it and you'll win. Just don't take it personally. If you take it personally, it's going to be real. It's really hard to be an entrepreneur for one, but for two, it's really hard to be in this business because there's just going to be a lot of, you're just going to have to fight through a lot of things that you're not used to. But it's worth it. It's definitely worth it. And it turns you into a different person, turns you into a tougher, more resilient, more versatile person. Not tougher like mean, just like you can weather the storm. Your emotions are in check. You're logically understanding that it just means that you just need to talk to more people to get more deals. So I don't think that there's any oversaturated market. I think there's some markets like Manhattan that are pretty locked down just because there's, it's the financial hub of the world. But beyond that, go for it. Corey G. Brent, when you say it takes on average 20 hours to get a deal from prospecting, is that 20 hours of talk time or 20 hours of dial time? Typically, it's dial time, Corey. Great question. Great question. Dial time. So that is, you want to get, like Ralph was saying, about 10 contacts per hour. And if you call for 20 hours, you're talking to 200 people. The issue that we run into is there's a 90-day lag time from the first time that you talk to them to actually getting the deal closed and getting paid. That's the issue, is that 90 days, is that pushing, is that, can you stay focused for 90 days while you have other things going on at work, while the kids are running around crazy, while, you've got vacations already planned, or you've got, other responsibilities that you have to do. Can you fit it into your life to stay consistent, to really get that momentum rolling? But yeah, it's dial time, brother. That's what you should focus on. That's one of the top metrics. How much time is spent calling people?
I want to throw something out there when it comes to focus, and I know it's somewhat of a tangent here with the question, but it's important just to keep in mind, right? if you're dialing for 20 hours and you get a deal in, you're going to spend a lot of your focus and energy and attention going into the disposition of that deal.
Yes.
If you lose track of or consistency of that 20 hours, the 90 days that you just mentioned, you know, they're going to go through, you're going to get paid and whatnot, but you're going to go through another dry sprout of another 90 days before you get anything down, you know, under contract, because you have to pick it back up again. It's not one of those things that you can turn on and off. It really loses momentum. So if you're focused on the dispo, I mean, once you get a deal in through the door, make sure that you go back and then keep that consistency on the lead generation side.
Always.
That's the think of it as a stream, right? It's always going, it never stops. It just flows. Flows. If you open up a waterfall, you're gonna get, you know, you're gonna drown. But if you keep it flowing all the time, it's gonna be steady. Boom, boom, boom,
Love it.
boom, boom.
Love it. There you go. The engine of our business. Brent, do your people take photos of the property before or after signing with the seller? It depends, Jamie. That's a great question. It's a really great question. You know, we use it as kind of an icebreaker to kind of get a feeling when you get face-to-face sometimes. Ryan or Chad will go in, and if you feel like they're kind of still got their shell up, but by this point, most of the time, they're like friendly, they're like hugging them, they're like, you know, shaking hands, they're smiling. But if they're kind of just, you know, still unsure, kind of have their force field up, then yeah, you know, do you mind if I take pictures as you tour me throughout the house? And if they give you permission, then they're like, that's a good sign. That's a good thing that they are serious about wanting to sell and they understand the process. If they're like, no, don't take pictures of my house, let's just talk, you give me my offer, then you know you're up against something else. So it doesn't really matter what we do when we go in is we sit down and we just make sure that we understand what their goals are. What's your goal with this property? You know, we've talked about this, and this. Is that still the same? Has anything changed? You know, and then we go into, you know, how we work, how we make this as smooth as possible, and then they'll go and get the pictures. And video. Video is great as well. Video really helps as well. So go through one time taking video, one time taking the pictures. The more pictures and video you have, the more likelihood that somebody would purchase that property sight unseen if they really know what they're doing. Luis, what tips can you give when choosing a market to pull a list from on Propstream? I've pulled a high equity list from Arizona, but it's saturated. That is a word that just needs to be removed 1,000%. Listen, guys, there is not a market that you're going to call and somebody hasn't called it. There's just not. So you can be frustrated that other people have called it, but you could also logically understand it's about timing. And I'm not banging on you, Luis. I'm just I get the saturated thing, you know, a couple times a day, and then I also get 5 texts a day of checks from the TTP family of deals that they've closed. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I mean, you go out and you do the work and you get it. But when you're choosing a market to pull a list from on Propstream, I would start in your backyard. I would start with driving for dollars. I would start with pulling a list in the backyard. I would start anywhere that you're interested in. I mean, Luis, here's the thing. If you feel like you can build up a good enough, a very strong, robust cash buyer database in a market, go to that market. That's all it's about. You know what I mean? If you got to first have customers to sell these properties to, which is your cash buyer database, and then you have to be able to effectively communicate with people that have ugly properties, or just a big motivation to sell their properties. So it's every market. I mean, you can call in Phoenix, and people will tell you, yeah, you're the 50th person we call. We still do $42,000 deals in Phoenix, bro. Every week. Every week. So, I mean, it's out there. I mean, it's just timing and follow-up. So if you want to move out of Phoenix, try somewhere else. Test it. I mean, here's the thing, Luis. Just test out any market you want. Pull 300 to 500 addresses in that market. And if you're having better conversations there, do it. Go for it. But just remember, in Phoenix, they're big deals. They're big deals. You know, so you might have to talk to 199. Well, you will. You have to talk to 199 people that tell you, I've been called about a bazillion times. And you're going to have 20 people in that 200 that go, yeah, I do want to sell. I'm accepting offers. And then one of those you'll do a deal with. It's going to be the same in any market. It just depends on how much you want to get paid.
One thing that we're doing, and it's working out well as far as list pulling, is just pulling. We don't have any information on the seller. We'll just pull a list based off completely off of the property. So single family residence built before 1995 or whatever, and then 10% equity, and then we'll just draw anything that we, any zip codes that we want to tackle, see how big, and it's a huge list. But what happens there? You have absentee owners, you have owner occupied, but there's a lot of other like sub filters that sneak into it that not necessarily everybody's hitting.
Yeah.
So I mean, it turns out to be one of those lists that you can create something. You can really pull some traction with that kind of stuff. Again, it's numbers, right? It's a high list, but
well, yeah, filtering will help. Stacking those lists will help.
Yeah.
All those things will help. But just going after high equity, if there's no signs of distress, that's going to be.
Everybody and their mom is.
You're going to have to tell
my 14-year-old cousin attorney is also hitting those lists.
There you go.
Just saying.
Yeah, get creative. Put some different lists together. Your vacant, tax default, pre-foreclosures. Your vacant, tired landlord list. All those things. Can we ring that bell? Last time you told me add a 0 to my 7K assignment. And now with my second deal, it's a 30K assignment. And I'm sending out a contract to a buyer for a third one for 8K. Ryan, my man, let everybody know what market you're in so people can squat up, and congratulations.
Ryan is on fire. Let's go.
That is incredible. That is incredible. Going back, well, first of all, Ryan, congratulations. Second of all, Phoenix. We have students in Phoenix. I have a student in Phoenix that's closing $142,000 in January from 3 deals. There's a reason that the biggest companies are here.
Maybe we need to do a show or a video on this saturation.
Yeah, we'll do is it too saturated? Because the fact is, if you look at how many properties there are, if you look at just Phoenix, I did the speech that I had on stage last Thursday at Wholesale Sharks event. There's literally 100,000 addresses just in Phoenix that are showing signs of distress. There was like 500 people in that room, right? If everybody did 50, we're not even close. What's 500 times 50? Is it 25,000? I think it's 25,000. So that's a quarter of. There's still 75,000, right? Yeah. Ton of opportunities. You just have to go through a lot. But that's why we get paid so much. Does it matter if the property is owned by an LLC? Emmanuel Johnson asked. No, it really doesn't. One thing that it does show to me is there's probably more savvy. The owners are probably more savvy to put it into an LLC. But I have bought a lot of properties from LLCs, brother. A lot. There are people that just, their accountants put the properties into LLCs for them, and then they let the property get beat up by tenants for 2 decades. And then it's still in an LLC, but it's a distressed property for sure, right? It shows a little bit of savviness, but I would go after it for sure. And Batch does a good job of skip tracing those LLCs. So there you go. Yeah, go after it. John, thanks for the motivation last week. Calling 2 hours after work after my full-time call center job. I've gotten a lot of traction. I bet you have, John.
Boom.
John Cooper. I just, in my mind, I see John as like this, like super, like strong, like
a solid
he
name.
Is put in. No, but he's put in the like he knows how to talk to people. You know what I mean? He spends 8 hours a day talking to people. Like him on the phone, his voice probably sounds like you're talking to Arnold Schwarzenegger with like if he was like from I don't know. Nevada or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. But anyway, John, I bet you are. If you listen, when you get endurance for being on the phone, when you get endurance being able to say more than 10,000 words a day or whatever it is on average for men and then for women or whatever it is, and you're able to speak more and you're able to add the tone and you're able to add the timing and you're able to really just put some energy into it, you can't lose. You cannot lose. Listen, you could be calling real estate agents. You could be calling attorneys, probate attorneys, inheritance attorneys. You could be talking to wealth managers. You could be talking to title companies. You could be talking to the people that are bidding at the foreclosure auctions. You could be talking to other wholesalers. You can be talking. Listen, it is when I talk about TTP, it's not just direct to the property owner. This is a philosophy of going out and being proactive all the time, but finding where you want to call. If Luis, if you're having a problem in Phoenix, start calling the real estate agents, right? Start calling insurance companies. Start calling the private money lenders. Start calling attorneys. I mean, you can start building up your network of referrals to finding those opportunities for sure. Start Philip Vincent, My Mom's House. He talks to all the people that place elderly people from their property into assisted living. What happens to those properties? So there's a ton. There you go. Ton of opportunities. Great job, John. Austin Worthington, if you're going for on-market leads listed by agents and they ask for proof of funds, what's the best way to go about and do that? Kogo Capital has a proof of funds. Kogo Capital has a proof of funds. Also, you can download from the internet, or best thing is squat up with somebody that has the funds and has it in their account and can send in a copy of that account. No, and one, you've got your person, and two, you've got that account. The account looks better than just a letter of proof of funds. The other thing that you can do is you can reach out to the hard money or private money lenders in your market and talk to them about what their process is to getting a loan approval from them or a letter of approval, and they can send that in as a proof of funds as well. Yeah, with agents you have to dot your I's, cross your T's for sure, right? Because they've been trained to, I need a copy of the earnest deposit check. I need a proof of funds. I need this to be on the realtor approved contract. I need you to sign these lead-based paint addendum. I need you to look at these seller property disclosure statements. I need you to sign this agency disclosure. These are all things that agents have that they have to turn into their broker to get paid. Okay, so just go through the process. It's not scary. It's just different. It's just different. It's not scary at all. It's all easy stuff. Just get your ducks in a row. And by the way, once you have that all figured out, now you speak the language. All right, will you send me over the purchase contract package, and I'll get that all filled out. You know, whatever it is. You know, just you can start speaking their language. And then all of a sudden you become one of them, and then all of a sudden they bring you more deals. But most importantly, you got to get the deals closed. That's what they care about the most. Awesome. That's a cool name, Austin Worthington.
Very proper.
Yeah, very proper.
Yes.
How do you feel about wholesaling sub 2? I love it. I think that is the only way that we do sub 2s. I mean, I haven't found if there was a smoking property that I really want to keep and it was a sub 2, I would. But I don't go after properties that I really want to keep. You know, I mean, for the most part, these properties need a lot of renovation. So you can go after really good properties in really good areas that are potentially maybe going through a pre-foreclosure, or they're about to lose it to tax liens or tax default, and get them caught up, and then wholesale that sub 2. But I think it's a fantastic strategy. I think you can make a ton on it. I think people love building up their portfolio and they don't want to use their own golden tickets. What I mean by golden tickets is to get the absolute best rates from conventional banks, you get 10 shots of the golden tickets, each person, you and your spouse. So you can get 20 properties with the best terms, and then you have to go to some banks that, the terms are higher, but they still make sense. And so with sub 2, these are really, 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 it's like taking somebody else's golden ticket. And then you just, so a lot of people want those. So you could make a ton on them. You can make a ton if you do a lot of deals, but I would say the average on them is about 5,000 to 10,000 that you'll make on them for a sub 2. But maybe more.
We the average for us in sub 2 assignments is about 15.
Awesome. There you go. Perfect. Are you finding those here? What markets?
They're sporadic here, for the most part. We've done I think a handful outside of the state. Most of them are here. But this is the backbone market too. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Javier, what skip tracing programs do you use that are the most accurate to contact sellers? That is batchskiptracing.com. Batchskiptracing.com. Use that coupon code TTP, but batchskiptracing.com is where you go for the most accurate. Yeah, for sure. What are some better ways, Jamila Curtis asks, what are some better ways to tackle pre-foreclosures? Auction dates are within a week or less. Well, first of all, they have to make a decision now, okay? And then you have to get the foreclosure postponed. Okay, so you have to go. You got to call down to whoever's doing the sale. You got to tell them that you have an accepted contract and to try to get a postponement. If you don't want to go through that, if you're just brand new and that seems like, oh my gosh, doing the research, finding that, talking to those people, working with them to get it postponed, Constant Close with Rochelle. Listen, if it's just you out there, I think they charge $400 if you use TTP as a code. It's $500 if you don't. But Rochelle is a unbelievable professional. She just blows me away. How she communicates, unbelievable. And by the way, she has a whole staff. But ConstantClose.com, they charge you up front, so make sure it's a good deal. And they push back foreclosure dates. They do all the work. They do all the transaction coordinating. So literally all you do is you find the seller, sign, you find the buyer, sign, you turn it over to Constant Close, and it's taken care of. It's phenomenal. If you want to leverage somebody, at some point, like I have Jackie who does all that, and Jeremy does all that in-house. But for the tricky stuff, we hire Constant Close with Rochelle. She's incredible. Anyway, she could get it postponed for you. So that's an option for everybody out there, not just Jamila. But what you need to do is they need to make that decision that they're going to lose that house. They're going to lose everything. So you got to see if there's just a little bit that they, give them a little bit. Well, first of all, there's a couple of things. One, you can give them a little bit of funds. You can give them a little bit of money to help them with this process. Two, a foreclosure stays on your credit for 7 years. 7 years. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't buy a house. There's some programs where you can, but it really screws you up for years. So let's avoid that. Let's not destroy their financial future, because our fact is we're a country built on debt, right? And so you got to help them. You got to help them avoid the big ding on their credit. You got to give them some money and help them out. So it shouldn't be a tough sell, honestly, Jamila. It just depends on if they really want to solve this problem, if they really want to get out of it. Because this happens all the time. A week or less, right, Raf? That's when oh no, I'm about to lose the house. I better do something.
It gets real.
Head in the sand. That's what I'm talking about. It's head in the sand. So help them out. Brandon Dukes. Is there a way to stop a house from going to a foreclosure auction? Yeah. So it just depends. If you can pay off that debt, what's owed before it closes, it's all good, Brandon. That's all the bank wants. The banks do not want these properties. They do not want these properties. They want to get their money, what's owed, all the back fees, all the attorney fees, all the back payments. They want to be caught up So let's just say that a property has a $100,000 loan on it. They owe $14,000 in fees and back payments, and it's worth $250,000. So you lock this thing up for $140,000. That $140,000 pays off the $14,000 in back fees, pays off the $100,000 loan. Bank's happy. You assign that thing for $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, $25,000, and then the investor gets the property. So you got to make sure when you're going after pre-foreclosures that they have equity. If they don't, then you have to get creative and do something like a sub 2, either pay off what's owed to stop the foreclosure, or have the investor step in and do that.
This is one of those cases where really, like, time is of the essence, right? I mean, time is of the essence in every single contract, but this takes it to a whole nother level. If you get Brandon, if you get a property in the contract, like, for example, a week before it goes to auction, they might work with the sellers and then extend or postpone that pre-foreclosure. You may get another month in there. There's ways of going about it. It's not a guaranteed thing, but if you have a strong case and you can come in and actually close on that property or assign or do something to close off that debt, you might be able to postpone the foreclosure for 30 days, and now you have 30 days when the seller had a week to move out of the house. So that's another thing that you can come in and then just have that conversation about if it's that close, right, to the foreclosure.
Yep. Awesome. Aaron D., is the response contact rate higher for cold calling than texting? No, the response contact rate is going to be lower for calling, for sure. More people will text. Yeah. More people will respond with texting. Typically, it's like we're at like 20 to 30% response on text. And it's like 7%, 7 to 10% on calls. So you're going to get more response on texting, but texting's only going to get you the lowest hanging fruit. For real. I mean, it is the lowest hanging fruit. It's profitable, but you got to send out a lot of text to get a deal. I mean, we're talking upwards in some market, 20, 30,000 texts per deal.
Do you know what your guys' averages are? Like how many texts to a contract, text to deal?
I think that Jackie said something like 9 to 10,000.
Yeah.
But we're very, 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 very specific with our texting. We stack the lists in batchleads.io, and then we text the ones that have multiple layers, and it's
Yep, definitely.
Yep. K Slim 6. Okay, closed my second wholesale deal this month. First was a $10K assignment, driving for dollars. This second one was a referral assignment fee for $25K. I'm in Atlanta, having trouble deciding how to scale. Look at that. 10K, 25K.
Boom. K Slim 6 is crushing it.
That is phenomenal.
Don't scale.
Let me help you out here, K Slim 6. Having trouble deciding how to scale. Keep doing what you're doing.
Yep. Don't scale. Not
Keep
yet.
doing what you're doing. I see too many people that are just the first 1 to 10 deals is like white belt to yellow belt, and everybody wants to jump up to like quadruple black belt. You know what I'm saying? The only way that you become a great business owner, great leader, is by earning it. Same way with like getting a black belt. You have to earn it. Nobody respects somebody that just puts on a belt because they bought it, right? You can't just buy your way into scaling your business. So that's why I say on this show, you need to keep the profits that you have. You need to be a magnet for incredible talent that wants to be around you, because you're being loud, you're having energy, you're having enthusiasm, you're posting about what you're doing every day, you're posting about the exciting things that you're doing, you're getting loud, but you gotta stay focused. Ugly houses, big checks. All right, K Slim, just keep it there. And with scaling it, the next step, really just make sure that everything for this first year is about lead generation. Lead generation, lead generation. Now, once you are so overwhelmed with lead generation that you simply can't have any more leads, it's just wild. You just can't get to all of them. Things are slipping through the cracks. That's when you bring in your acquisition manager. That's when you bring in that incredible sales person that comes in to help you convert more of those leads. And then at some point, you bring in somebody to sell your deals and organize your lead management and to organize your transaction coordination and all those other things that distract you. You've got this, but just make sure that you're not just putting all this money in to get your black belt when you can go through this thing and really build it up and build all of the skills so that this is a sustainable business for forever, for as long as you want it. All right? So keep your money. Awesome.
There's a couple of things that they have to keep in mind, like when you're a stage or a level 1 business, and a level 1 wholesaling business is 0 to 3 deals on a regular basis.
Yeah.
If you keep that steady, right? But you before scaling, you make it sustainable, like you said. But the priorities go in order like this, right? Number 1 priority is going to be your profits. You have to keep your eyes on the profit. The second priority is going to be setting up your systems as you go, and then the third priority is going to be plugging people into it.
Yep.
So that's what you do, what you focus on as a level 1 wholesaling business before you even think about ramping it up or dropping more, or money into bringing people in, because all you're going to be scaling is going to be chaos.
Yeah.
So.
And by the way, we're talking about a level 1 business. We're not talking about your level. Like, you in your mind is
right.
You're a black. You should in your mind be a black belt. You should be like, what are they talking about? I'm doing deals over here. I'm doing this thing. I get it. Like, that's what's going through my mind. But what I'm saying is, like, build this thing, because I know after those first couple deals, especially deal that you get $25K, that $25K feels like it's $1 million. Like, there's so much potential there. But if you take out taxes and you take out expenses and you put in 90 days worth of expenses, 6 months worth of expenses, you're putting some money aside for whatever, for unexpected things to happen, all of a sudden that goes quick. Let's build this thing up, I know that you have a black belt mentality, and I get it. Let's just get there. Let's earn the way in there. That's the only way that you do it. You got to see that and be like, I want that, right? That's the way that we feel about it. And I get it. I love it. So, but just focus on the things, the techniques, the skills, and the leadership that you need to be able to build a really good company, because the fact is, you work for anybody you hire. They don't work for you. I'm telling you, in this business, you work for them. You are the rainmaker. You are the one that has to provide all the top funnel leads to come in so that they can be successful. Not only so they can be successful, that they also stay motivated. Not only that they stay motivated, but they actually want to work with you and not create their own businesses. Then you have to repeat this cycle all the time. Right? There's a lot to it. You got this. Josh, how do I avoid being a realtor when wholesaling? I get contracts, then my buyers want every detail on the property. Should I only be selling the contract? Yeah. I mean, you're selling the opportunity to do it. If you don't want to be a realtor, or if you're worried about this, Josh, get your license.
Yeah.
Get your license. I mean, if you go out and you go, this is what's going on with this property, and I'm under contract, you have the right to purchase that property. So you're selling your rights to sell that sell that contract. So if you want to talk about the ins and outs of the contract, great. But you are in a principal position. So talk to an attorney about it, Josh, or get a license.
Yeah, I think the key word there, I mean, it's going to be representation. There's no representation going on if he's got no license, right? So you don't have to worry about that part. We're not attorneys. One thing that we do on disclosures is just buyer to do their own due diligence. And then you just present what you have in marketing, pictures, and, public information that you have on the deal, and then whatever the seller says. That's it. Well, there's no representation.
Listen, wholesaling isn't just assigning deals. Wholesaling is the art of finding discounted properties. So we got to look at what the definition of wholesaling is. So if you're sourcing these deals, Josh, close on them. You can close on them or get your license if you feel uncomfortable talking about the property specifically, or if in your state they really are hard on that. I don't know any states that have had that, honestly. I don't know any litigation. I don't know anything that's happened that somebody got sued for talking about the property as opposed to as the principal buyer talking to somebody else about whether they want to buy that or not. But I could be totally wrong. I mean, go into it. I think it's a little fear-based, to be honest. But I get it. I know where you're coming from. So get your license or close on the deals. Or talk to an attorney and see what you can say about that property in your area. There you go.
Okay, this is a 5-part question.
We got a 5-part question coming in hot. Good thing we got 39 minutes left in this show. Trinity, I have a signed contract for a probate deal that was just approved by the court. I have a buyer, but the issue is there is a super bad basement foundation problem. So he only offered $80K. Okay. And I have the contract for $76,600. I can't get the courts to come down on price, and the buyer won't come up over $80K. We're not sure if the courts will allow an assignment, so my buyer said if they turn the assignment down, that he will give us the money to close, and we can just quick claim deed it over to him. My concern is if I shop it around to other buyers for a higher offer, is that they won't be willing to fund the closing if I can't assign it to them like my other buyer is willing to do. What do you suggest, Brent? Well, a couple different things. This is great. I love this. First of all, you've got a deal. You've got a deal. It's not a big deal, but you've got a deal. Second thing is, if it's in the courts, I would talk to whatever judge or attorney that is and see if they have a problem with you assigning it. One of my exit strategies is assigning it. I have somebody that wants to pay more for this property. Is there any problem with me assigning my rights to purchase this property to them? I would be totally transparent. And if they're like, no, you can't do that, be like, okay, I'll just close it. And then do it with that first buyer. Make the $4,000 that you're going to make and move on. Because listen, Trinity, this is going to be one of 5,000 deals that you do in your career. So let's not get bogged down in the details. Let's not get stuck in quicksand with this specific deal. If you make a few, you make a few and move on. I'd rather you make a few than nothing. So be totally transparent. One of my exit strategies is to assign it. I have a buyer that wants to buy this from me. Is there any issue with the courts for me doing this? Listen, the funny thing, Jeremy's calling me right now. He's probably like, why are people emailing me all these properties? I should probably give him a heads up. But I have a text from yesterday from a TTP student, and he's like, I can't believe it. I have a Zoom call with the judge at 3:30. I'm so nervous. Judge approved his price. Judge approved the price based on the pictures, based on the purchase. I mean, it's a great deal. Judge approved the price. It's happened to me in Flagstaff. Judge was like, yeah, no problem. I have no problem putting as much information and being as transparent as possible with any of the attorneys or the judges or whatever else. You know what I mean? Like if you have to close it, close it. Great question. Great 5-parter. But congratulations. You better post next week what you decided to do and how it went. And get that closed. But I would say, listen, Judge, I can close on this. I have every intention of closing on it. I have the funds to close on this. But one of my exit strategies is to assign it to a network of other investors that I work with. Does the court have any problem with me assigning it if that's the exit strategy that I'm looking at? If not, no big deal. I can close it. Just see. Brett. Or Brent, how many times would you let your VAs touch before you transfer to your negotiating team? Once, typically. So what'll happen is my phone prospectors, that's what you're talking about with VAs. Yeah. My phone prospectors have been with us a long time, and they know how to send in quality, which means we're getting 1 or 2 minimum of the 4 pillars of pre-qualifying: condition, timeline to sell, motivation to sell, and the price, the condition of the property, timeline to sell, motivation, and the price. They're going to send that in. If for some reason Jackie gets that lead and she's like, meh, I think you're just kind of you're kind of messing with us here. Call this person back and dig a little bit deeper before it goes to our team. Then that's what will happen. But what I do is I try to get them to my sales guys. I mean, the phone prospectors are fantastic, but my sales guys have a much bigger motivation to really dig in there deep because their income is based on commissions. The phone prospectors are just billed hourly. So the sales guys are going to really, really, really push to understand what's going on there. And so I want them to get there as much as possible. It's under Jackie's discretion whether she filters it out because it's just, hey, give me an offer. You know what I mean? Like, we'll kick that one back. But we have a junior acquisition manager, Chad, who warms up all of our leads. Once the timeline's short, it goes to Ryan. Ryan closes it. Here's a breakdown of my TTP wholesaling business if you guys want a little refresher on there on what we pay them and the commission base, what the base is and what the commissions are. That's what it looks like. Boom. There you go.
I like Jeremy's picture. What was he doing?
Let me see it again.
After he got married. He was
Oh, yeah. He was celebrating. Yeah, he's literally holding Jackie's hand.
I thought it was dancing or something.
And he's got his hand up, totally pumped. It was the greatest day of his life.
Yeah.
There you go. By far. Terry. A lady wants $500K and the home is only worth $250K at best. I'm in Orlando, Florida. What can I say to her? Huh?
No.
Bye, Felicia.
Bye, Felicia,
Bye,
is what
Felicia.
Matt says here. Yeah, Terry, here's the thing. She's messing with you. I mean, the lady is messing with you. We're looking for motivation. You need two things to find discounted property or to find really good deals. It's motivation and it's equity. If it's $250, she's just throwing it out there. So just move on. I would tell her, it looks like homes similar to yours, neighbors similar to yours in the area are selling for about $150,000. Is that something she would consider? Are you kidding me? I wouldn't consider anything lower than $500,000 if you want me to move. Okay, great. And then you move on. There you go. Jeremy's texting. All right, Addison. Brent, I have 40 hours of calling the past 30 days, yet no checks. Yeah, you need 90 days, Addison. Many of my leads won't be ready until March. How far away is March? Okay. I'm under the cost. I'm under the to produce results and could use the money in my business. I don't know. I am under the cash to produce. I don't know. Huh?
I don't know.
Okay. Yeah. Addison, keep going. Awesome, brother. Awesome. There should be 2 deals in there.
I think it's a girl.
So it's just making sure that you're doing your lead follow-up, making sure that you are trying to shorten the timeline by removing any of the obstacles, preventing them from selling their property, or kind of extending the time that they need to sell that property. But listen, you're right on track. Keep it going. Your engine's going. I mean, you're starting to build that momentum. I love it. I absolutely love it. So there should be 2 checks. And you're right. There probably will be ready March. You know what I mean? So I love it, Addison. You got this. Keep it going.
That's an average of 1.3 hours a day for the last 30 days, right?
Yeah.
I'd be interested to see how many people she's or he or she, I'm not sure if it's a girl or a guy,
Sure.
but they're actually tapping, they're actually reaching out to. So that's gonna matter too. So
Yeah. Make sure your contact rate and Pink Panther. All right. The real Pink Panther. I love it. Hey, Brent, what is the best SMS blasting? Batchleads.io. Batchleads.io. It's incredible. I mean, high deliverability rate, 80-90%, response rate in the 20 to 30%. So that's who we use, and we've been very, very, very happy and very profitable with batchleads.io/TTP. Can I get a bell ring for Jonathan Miller? First deal wholetailed, netting $70,000, all thanks to the inspiration of TTP and Sub2 family. First of all, Jonathan,
Boom.
it's all thanks to you putting in the work. You do all the hard work. Congratulations. 70, guys. $70,000 $70,000. Come on, Jonathan. Congratulations. Look at this. That is absolutely bananas. We're talking massive deals in this on this show. That's for sure. I love it. Congratulations. $70,000. Keep that money and keep moving forward. Great job, Jonathan.
Love
It's
it.
phenomenal. You ever gone skydiving?
No,
Would you?
probably.
I have.
What'd you think?
It's great.
You liked it?
Yeah.
Looks like Jonathan's a skydiver. Or maybe that's parasailing. I don't know what was going on there, but I don't know if I'll do it. Yeah.
You should.
Maybe when I was younger. I don't know. Anyway.
I like my
Joel,
life.
Met a homeowner whose husband recently passed as I was door knocking. I have yet to close a deal. How should I best approach? Met a whole, well, number one, obviously you want to pre-qualify, Joel. So you're going to have to get the timeline. The timeline's going to be the big one here. You know what I'm saying? And just because somebody passed away doesn't mean that they're going to move. So do they want to move? Do they want to sell? Do they want to, kind of, start a new life? Or not a new life, but just a new location. Sometimes that happens. So I would just see if they do want to sell, first of all, and then pre-qualify. What's the condition? What's the timeline? What's their, the motivation, and what price do they want? So that's awesome. Just pre-qualify. Every time we're talking to somebody about real estate, the conversation comes back to those four things. If you're just getting started, if you've never had a conversation, if you've had some conversations but you kind of fumbled and stumbled and you kind of weren't sure what you're looking at, listen to me. Let it be the skeleton of your conversation. Condition, timeline, motivation, price. Condition, timeline, motivation, price. Focus on those. And you're going to have great conversations. Get him, Joel. Get him, Joel.
Going.
Simone, can't get a hold of a homeowner, so I went to the tax assessor's office to see if I can get more info. They said it would be going to tax sale in a year. Any advice? Yeah, a couple of different things. I mean, you should find out where their mailing address is for their tax bill. That may or may not be effective because they're not paying it, so maybe it's going to the wrong place. But I would do a deep dive search. You can go into, I would skip trace them with batch skip, obviously. If you can't get a hold of them there, I would go to AmericanTracers.com. They can pull some info. And then if you can't get them there, I would go on Fiverr or I would go on Upwork and find somebody that has a TLO account and see if you can pull all of the relatives that are connected to that property. You can also do some research on Been Verified, I think. I think that's the one that was, Ancestry.com and Been Verified. Yeah, Ancestry.com is what a student told me yesterday they've been doing because it has like connections and then they go and find the phone numbers for the connections.
Oh yeah, they find the kids.
Yeah. You find the kids, you find the relatives. Yeah. It's interesting, right?
That's really fucking smart.
Yeah, it is. So you go to Ancestry, you find it, and as Alejandra says, that's really effing smart. Keeping it clean here. It's the morning. No cursing till afternoon.
It is. It's 11.
Sebastian.
5.
So freaking happy. You know what I love doing, Raph? I love using exclamation. I don't think it's very rare that I send a text message without exclamation points. I love it. Got my first deal this week, $33K Atlanta, baby. Sebastian
Boom.
Castro. Here we go.
What's his thing?
We are celebrating today. Congratulations, Sebastian. Keep it going. That is the one. That's the one that opens up the eyes, and you're like, yes, it is a fact that I can do this. Not only that, but you closed your first deal at $33,000. Holy cow. Make that your minimum standard. I mean, do deals that are less than that if you have to, but make it your minimum standard. Try to get 33 out of every deal, especially in Atlanta, with as much economy that's getting poured into that city is probably, I mean, the money, the industry, the supply and demand on properties. I mean, go crazy in Atlanta. Absolutely.
Wow.
33, Ken. That's a busy place too. So there's
Right.
deals.
Hey, Brent, a wise man once said, your new list is someone else's old list. So how often do you recycle your list? That's,
I like that.
I think that's a philosophy that you could probably do with a lot of things, you know? But how often do you recycle your 6 months? Every 6 months. And it depends on the list. It really depends on the list, but that's a great question. But typically it's 6 months. Yep.
Excuse me.
Good question. A wise man said your new list is someone else's old list. Except for driving for dollars. That's a custom list to you. Now it's going to be on other people's, and people have probably gotten calls, but yeah. Awesome. Swayam. Hey, Brent, what is the formula to know offer price to give to a seller for a sub-2 wholesaling? Well, first of all, you should be getting it as low as you can. It depends on how much equity they have. If they don't have equity and you're doing a sub-2, it's going to be basically what they owe plus whatever they are trying to walk away with, and just see if that makes sense for an investor to be able to take that off your hands and pay you, right? Is it worth it to them to put in the $25K to catch it up, the $10K that the person wants to walk away with, and your $10K? So your investor has to come in with $45K of their own cash, but then they get the property and they get the advantage of taking over that loan. So it really just depends on if they have equity or not. If they have equity, then I would probably try to just do a traditional wholesale deal. If they don't have equity, then go sub-2, but it's going to be tight. It's basically just whatever you can. I would just add $15K on every sub-2 because there's no equity. Typically, there's not a tremendous amount of equity. So there you go. If there is equity, wholesale it. Wholesale it and just get rid of the loan and have somebody buy it cash.
Ideally, I mean, we cap out at 90%. I mean, that's how we work the offer.
Yeah.
We go to 90% of whatever the ARV of the property is, the market value of the property, and then we try to find at least $300 cash flow on that.
Yeah, and you have to see what is the payment?
Yeah.
What is the payment that you are inheriting? What is
Right.
the payment that you are that is on the loan right now versus the cash flow on that versus what people are buying it at? And that'll help you determine how much you can make on your wholesale fee. When looking at deals to hold onto, is there specific terms you look for a specific ROI? Great question, Brendan. So I have a totally different philosophy for buying and holding. Only good school districts, only close to around the median sale price, but that's in Arizona. And I like buying properties in Arizona because I can go to properties in Arizona, and I don't have a huge staff for like property management. So I look for really good properties in really good school districts, and that's what's going to build. And I look for appreciation, not cash flow. So if you're looking for cash flow, you're going to have to go into those lower priced markets typically to be able to get those cash flow. But I would challenge, Brendan, because I love this question. I would challenge that. What do you want to manage one property that has 20 doors, like an apartment complex, or do you want to go with 20 single family properties? You're probably going to get a way higher appreciation with those single family properties, but management, time, space in your mind, how much it takes up, like all of these things matter. Or do you want to go into commercial where there's only one bathroom, two bathrooms, one kitchen, two kitchen, whatever it is, versus 20 kitchens, 20 bathrooms, 40 bathrooms, in a house you could have 60 bathrooms. All of these things get clogged. They need servicing. They need updating. They need all these things. So it depends on your strategy. What I would tell you is Find properties in really good school districts that'll appreciate forever. Your tenants are going to be fantastic. They're going to stay around forever, which means you don't have vacancy and you don't have a tremendous amount of updating every time that somebody leaves. And you're going to take advantage of great appreciation. If you want cash flow, then just look for properties that get great cash flow, a great ROI. People typically look between 1% and 3% of the purchase price for their cash flow. Depends on the market. So if it's $100,000, they're looking for $1,000 to $3,000 a month in rent. It's not usually the 3% comes in when you have a $50,000 house and you get, $1,500 in rent or something like that. It's pretty high. But there you go. But stay focused. If this is your first year in real estate, find deals, big checks, ugly houses, big checks. In the 13th month, you can start building your portfolio. Hey, Brent, I have around 3,700 addresses from Driving for Dollars. Done 6 deals from it, cold calling. What other ways I can reach out to them other than text blasting? I love it. Well, first of all, we should ring the bell for these 6 deals, all right?
Boom.
So first of all, JC Wholesale. That is fantastic. 6 deals from 3,700 addresses from Driving for Dollars. 1, you got to go to the door. 2, you got to leave something behind at the door. I like sticky notes that just say call me and your phone number. No, or whatever. Get creative with it. You can send them mail, right? You can try to target them on social media if you know their name and their location. And you can see if maybe you can get their email from some of these skip tracing services. So, I mean, there's a few different ways, but typically you're going to go to the door or you're going to send a mail is what I've found to be most effective. And what I would do with mail is I would do a handwritten note, like a thank you note, but just do a handwritten note with their first name. Keep it simple. I'm interested in buying your property. I'm interested in seeing if you would consider an offer on your property. Call me and then put your phone number and name. Maybe a business card if you want. And then send it out to them. Do a handwritten note. Send it out to them. Have them call you. But I love it. Go after them hard. I'm telling you, you focus on the most distressed, the ugliest properties in your area, you're going to get a bunch of deals. I think that there is something to be said, and I've talked about this, 3 years. Quantity versus quality. Yeah. If you really want to just niche it down to going after the worst of the worst of the worst, you will do deals. You will do deals. You're doing all sorts of different ways to try to talk to them. Awesome. Michael Dodd, if you already have the money to fix and flip, would you recommend that over wholesaling? It depends, Michael. In the first year, I would wholesale. I really would. I would build a company that is solely focused on finding discounted properties, because then once you have that rhythm, once you have that system down, once you have that machine running, then all of a sudden you can do all sorts of things, right? I love that you have the money. If you want to cherry pick one, but this is what I'll say, Michael. If you can double the profits from a flip than a wholesale, I would consider it. But I still think for the first year, you should focus. The first 12 months, you should focus on building a machine that is going to source you deals. Because what happens is you get that property, then all of a sudden, instead of calling or lead generating for new deals, you're picking out the paint colors. You're picking out the style of baseboards. You're picking out what kind of flooring do I want? Do I want tile? Do I want vinyl flooring? Do I want wood? What kind of fixtures? What kind of appliances do I want? What about countertops? What about the little knobs that you open up drawers with? All of these things go in to a flip, and it takes a lot of time. But I think, you establish this. The perfect model of this, guys, is really the Viking boys. Luke Rotvold and Jake Landis. They do a phenomenal job. But Luke went for 3 years with me sourcing deals, and then built his own company up from there, still was a wholesaling, and now is doing flips. He's doing ground up. He's doing commercial. He's doing multifamily development, and just making an absolute fortune. But the only reason they were able to do that is because they built the foundation of finding those deals first, and then started exploring and expanding. And that's when I do approve of partnerships. When one person is responsible for sourcing the deals, the other one's responsible for building the portfolio and for managing the crews on construction. It's tough to do by yourself, and that's what I would see to say that a partnership is really solid there if you have somebody that is strong where you're weak. But I would say first 12 months, stick to wholesaling, fix and flip it once you get that system going, because you might find a phenomenal deal right now, but you're going to find even bigger deals in the future because you're going to have so much experience. You're going to have so many in your pipeline that it's going to be way better. Yep. Will Coggins asks, got my first deal under option yesterday. Anyone can do this. Waiting to hear back from my buyers to move forward. Likely a $14K assignment fee to me at close. Congratulations.
Nice.
Here we go. And by the way, I really hope that you meant you got your first deal under contract yesterday, not option. I don't want you to have the option to buy it. I want you to have it locked in. I think that's what you mean, Will. Congratulations. Get that $14K assignment fee. Get it sold, brother. Get it sold. That's fantastic. Swayam. Hey, Brent, I'm from India, 16 years old, grinding for wholesale deals by using Jerry Norton's on-market technique. Any advice, please? Keep going. 16 years old listen to me.
TTP Insider.
First of all, there's a ton of resources in ttpinsider.com. So that'll round out a lot of resources and tools that you need. So make sure that you get in there. Second is, you're living in India. You're 16 years old. You're virtually wholesaling. You can stay consistent. You will win. I mean, this is just, if everybody that is watching this should be like, oh my gosh, I actually live in this country. I am like 28 years old, 22 years old, 48 years old, 36 years old. I'm in the city that I want to do business with, and I just can't pull the trigger. No excuses. No excuses. This is absolutely, you are an inspiration. Keep going. Keep going. Keep pushing. Keep doing it. You will be successful. You know, make sure that you've got somebody that's of age to be able to put together the contracts and follow all the legalities here in this country. But rock and roll. I mean, listen, you can start finding opportunities. There was somebody on Facebook had their 14-year-old phone prospecting. Sounded sharp, confident, quick, wasn't overthinking, rolling with the punches, getting rejection after rejection after rejection, no problem, moving on, joking about it, having fun. I'm telling you, man, this generation coming up, man, it is powerful. It is powerful. Listen, this show is sponsored by the subscribe button this week. Make sure that you hit the subscribe and the bell button for notifications. That means we'll pop into your phone every day because we put out new content every single day so that you can be more successful in your business faster. Awesome. There you go. Alejandra is now doing something. I don't know. She moved on. Here we go. Dustin Matthews. Brent, don't I have to have an LLC to use batch leads? Why do I use if I don't have an LLC yet? You do not need to have an LLC to use batch leads. I don't know why you would need an LLC to use batch leads. Let's find out. Let's do something here. Let's see if you need let's call Annie, the owner, and see if you need to have an LLC. See if she answers.
Hello.
Annie, you are live on the show right now with a quick question. Do you need to have an LLC set up to get a batch leads account?
Absolutely not.
Okay. So you can just anybody can get a batch leads account.
Correct, yes.
All right, thank you.
Absolutely. Have a great day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
Boom, there we go. What do we have here? Oh, Raph, come on up. Look at this guy. Come on up.
No way.
Get up there.
There we go. Look at this, guys. If you will, in the comments section, put a happy birthday to Raphael. This is fantastic.
TP fam.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Raphael. Happy birthday to you.
Yes.
What is that for?
So he doesn't get COVID everywhere.
Is that a thing?
Yeah.
That's a new
Gave me
thing.
a thing. It
What a
makes
world
sense.
we
It
live
worked.
in.
It worked.
I love you.
Thank you. Love you, bro.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you, fam.
There we go. And happy birthday to Raphael. That is fantastic. So just to recap, guys, 19.1% was appreciation across the country last year for residential real estate. Interest rates have gone from 3.1 to 3.6, and there is a whole different there's a whole scale of different opinions on the predictions for 2022 from 3% all the way up to 12.6%. So here's the thing. Inventory is still low, historically low for 40 years. There's still supply chain issues to get building equipment. So new home builds are taking between 12 to 18 months. So as more and more people, and the interesting thing is for all those millennials that were born between 1989 and 1993, the average, that's the biggest pool of buyers that are out there right now, because the fact is first-time home buyers typically are 30 years old. Not in this crowd. Not in this crowd. We have this crowd buys property way before that. But the average American, a first-time home buyer is around 30 years old based on the internets. So there you go. Awesome. I'm just recapping, burning some time here because Alejandro is lighting the candles again and taking more pictures. All right. There we go. Raph, any plans for your birthday?
Nothing crazy. Maybe dinner. Some easy.
What's going on Friday?
It's Alejandro's gonna burn down the studio.
Yeah, probably.
That's happening. But yeah, no, nothing crazy. Just
What about
Crush
Friday
it.
afternoon?
What's happening Friday afternoon, my friend?
Little birthday party at my house for Raphael and the crew. It's gonna be great. Anyway,
Let's get it.
let's wrap up this show. We got 6 more minutes. We've got 2 or 3 more questions that we can get through, or celebrations. So let's hit it. Let's get the most out of the 120 minutes that we have. Remember, we have 168 hours in a week. If you are doing this business part-time, you need to find 20 hours that you can commit to this business. 20 hours. Building, consistent, discipline, excitement, energy, positivity, optimism. That's what we need. 20 hours of that. Happy birthday, Raph. There you go.
Yay! Thank you.
That's awesome.
One thing to kind of bring it full circle before time lapses, right? But I think it's important to just recap on the fact that, yeah, interest rates are going to change. There's always going to be questions about where the market is headed, how good it is, how bad it is, how challenging it is, how up and down and whatnot. At the end of the day, it's really bringing it back down to basics, right?
Yeah.
Having those solid conversations, not being afraid to dial out. And if you go through the 30 days of dialing, keep going.
Yep.
Eventually, because you're already walking in that direction, you're gonna see results. You're gonna see results. You're gonna stack your conversations. You're gonna stack your follow-ups, your opportunities, and then those translate directly into deals.
That's it.
It's a matter of taking the actions and moving forward with it, right?
Awesome.
Massive imperfect action is something that we always preach. So
Imperfect action. Massive imperfect action. Progress, not perfection.
yeah.
Old Tom Kroll saying, progress, not perfection. There was the question before that. I would, if you're going to be text blast the first 2 numbers that come up. That's going to be 98% accurate. The rest of them are kind of, For 2%, I'm not messing with it. Hey, Brent, what is the best phone option for use for cold calling? A separate phone or a service like Grasshopper? Well, if you're going to hand dial, I would probably do something like Grasshopper for sure. But at some point, you need to get a dialer. Batchdialer.com, all in with the bells and whistles. It's about $150 a month. But if you just don't have the budget for it right now, then yeah, something like Grasshopper or like a sideline number. You can see if they have that. I don't know if Google numbers are around anymore. Or you could just get a cheap smartphone that'll be your business line. People that carry around multiple phones, it's wild to me. I have one phone for everything. I mean, I get it if you have a business phone and a personal phone, or if you've got, you work for somebody and they want a specific phone that they can track or whatever else. But it's up to you. Just up to you. I just would go through CallRail, and I would know if anybody was calling in because it would have a different ringtone. So I would also look at CallRail as well. RAIL. There you go. Isaiah. Brent, how would you go about outsourcing a Driving for Dollars campaign with a limited budget? My market is California, and I know Driving for Dollars is more effective than pulling lists. Isaiah, in 2 minutes and 50 seconds, literally search on this channel Virtual Driving for Dollars 2.0. Virtual Driving for Dollars. That's the only way and it's not going to be somebody that's going to drive around. It's going to be somebody using Google Maps that you pay $2, $3, $4 an hour in a different country through some sort of virtual assistant network, something like Upwork or something like Fiverr or whatever other ones. There's a ton of other ones. And then what I want you to do, Isaiah, is make a video of yourself driving for dollars, the exact way that you want them to do it. Make a screen flow video or a screen recording of you on your computer doing it. And then send that to the VA so they know exactly what to do. Send them the video that I made of Virtual Driving for Dollars 2.0, and that's going to be the cheapest way that you can build that list. It's not going to be perfect because Google Maps are not perfect, but you're not going to be able to do the whole, well, if you're driving for dollars for me, I will give you a slice of the deal, or I will help you do real estate or whatever else. They will not last. I had 8 people in this market that I would spend an hour a week, one, like 8 to 1, small group, answering any questions, going through every deal, going through teaching, going through like in my world, in my office, an hour a week. They lasted a couple months, lasted a few months. So you either have to pay somebody probably $15 an hour now at this in 2022, or you have to pay somebody a few bucks an hour to do it virtually through Virtual Driving for Dollars on, and they would use Deal Machine with that. So Deal Machine has a Google Chrome attachment that they literally are just clicking things on Google Maps and it adds it to your Deal Machine account. It's so slick, so cool. So dealmachine.com/TTP, $10 off. Chuck Hastings, what phone system do you use that rings your team simultaneously and or able to transfer calls to the right team member? That is a good question. Let's find out. Let's dial the boss here, Jackie. I think it is Ring Central, but I could be wrong. Let's see.
I think you guys are using smartphone.
Smartphone?
Yeah, you guys are using smartphone.
Smartphone.com?
Smartphone.io, I think it's the login.
Okay.
Hello?
Jackie,
Yes.
you are on the live show. I'm wondering, what phone system do we use that rings the team simultaneously?
CallRail.
It is CallRail.
Oh.
It is CallRail, yeah.
Fantastic. You're the best.
Love it.
Okay.
All right, bye.
Bye. Everybody's got good energy.
I am
Surround
telling
yourself
you.
with people with great energy. I'm telling you. Come on up, guys. That's it for it. Remember. It doesn't matter what interest rates are doing. It doesn't matter what the stock market's doing. It matters what you are doing. It's the only thing that you can control. Okay? So on behalf of Matt and Aaron and Raf and Alejandra and myself, we love you. We support you. Go out there, talk to as many people as possible. And remember, keep your house clean, protect your health, and increase your value to the world, and you're going to live an incredible life. Love you guys. See you later.